So here we are on board Explorer with her skipper, Mark Sinclair, who is fondly known by everyone around the world as Captain Coconut. You may remember that he took part in the 2018 and 2022 Golden Globe race, and now he's skipper of this lovely boat. Mark, why have you decided to do the Ocean Globe race?
I was asked. So I did the 2018 race, and then in the 2022 race I stopped to attend my son's wedding, and so then I was just sailing the boat back to Australia, and Don rang me up and sort of said, hey, I've just bought a boat and I want to enter it in the Ocean Globe race, could I be skipper? And I said, yeah. I'm just about to cast off in where was I, Lanzarote, and head to Cape Verde and then over to Panama. I said, but I'll work that out, and I'll come and join you. So I sailed to Grenada, sailed to Cape Verde, Grenada, and then took it down to Trinidad. And she's at Peaks Marine in Trinidad on the hard under a coconut tree. So there you go. Here I am.
And she's so Explorer is a Swan 57.
Correct.
Just talk me through the modifications that you've had to make to her for the race.
Right, so Don bought her at the start of the year, and she was at Breskens in Holland, where basically on the purchase survey the gudgeons had to be replaced, so that was done. And while that was happening, we got her re-rigged and built some additional bunks and a few bits and pieces. The first thing you'll see is there's a crash bulkhead that we've fitted. The anchor cable still comes down through this hose pipe here and gets stored down below. We put a little hatch in it, so all the sails all come down here. At the moment we're packing long life provisions under the sails. They'll be hard to get at, but they're out of the way. They're all going in these waterproof bags because some of them are water activated and self-heating, so you don't want them to get wet, or that'll be a real problem. So that'll be sail management's going to be a bit of a debacle, and so we'll have to bring sails on the upper deck and move them up and down and whatever. I've got a brand new forward hatch going in. It was delivered this morning, so it's just been it's 15 mil polycarb. So we're just mounting that at the moment, so just in time. Coming aft, right, we've got the forward heads there. Basically, we'll have to manage fresh water really well on board. So we've got freshwater tap there and a freshwater pump there, but we won't be using the freshwater here. We'll just have salt water in little squeezy bottles, and some of that hygienic pump stuff. So forward heads here. Right in this cabin here, it's a 2-berth. There's a bilge pump outlet over there, some storage behind, but you can see it's all the furniture's in. It's a a classic Swan, so it's it's not all stripped out like a race boat. The 2-berth cabin here. Basically it's opened up. There's a brand new desalinator that's just been put in. That's a Cape Horn Extreme. That goes in. That gives us about, we just did a cleansing flush this morning. Gives us about 35 litres an hour, I think. There'll be an issue of whether we have enough power to do it. So do we run it, a couple of times a week when we turn the generator on? Or can we power, we've got a Watt and C, do we generate enough power to be able to run that? We've got 800 litres in 4 tanks and 100 litres of emergency water in containers. So that's 900 litres for 10 people, so that's 90 litres per person over the trip, and we're planning on 40 days. So that's really 2 and a bit litres per person for the water we hold, which is not enough. So we've got to go on water restrict. We're managing our water right from the start. So I'm planning that the Cape Horn desalinator doesn't work, and that what we'll do is we will, if we can keep the tanks full and keep up with our water consumption, also with our fuel and power management, we'll basically release water for nice things of perhaps washing or whatever. At the moment, fresh water is only for cooking. There's no washing dishwashers, personal hygiene's all salt water, which is just like coconut. And here we are in the main saloon. So we have put in, and we're still tidying up and putting food away. So that's why it's a bit messy. This is a new saloon table. So we made a smaller saloon table to provide more bunk space over there around the table. We put in a new bunk up the top there. So that's a new folding bunk. And same on the starboard side. We've got a bunk down below and a new bunk up here. So we've got 4 people living here, which sort of is a bit of a compromise because it's the rec area too. So we've got to manage that. We're running 1 in 3 watch system, so we'll work it out. It tends to be fine. In a perfect world, I would have liked to have preserved this, and I know some boats are hot bunking and preserving this as a wet area. A rec area. Look, the preference is not the hot bunk, and the compromise is this is a shared area. And we're sailing, and people sleep when they're tired, so it'll work out. We've got a freezer in here. It's a big freezer, and we're currently provisioning, and so we haven't got too much in at the moment. So there's Captain Birdseye fish fingers. There we go. So that so we all take turns in cooking. When I cook, that's what they get, fish fingers. If we need more room, we'll probably eat them for lunch. New table, as I said, there's a bit of storage down under there. We've got 4 water tanks under here, and up there we've got 4 fuel tanks here as well. So fuel's about 1,200 litres, water's 800 litres. Batteries are under here. We've got 600 and something amp hour batteries, basically in a series of 2 to provide 24 volt system. So we've got 300 amps at 24, which is not a lot, 350 amps. And we've got 2 batteries for engine start, and that's a separate thing. Once again, 24 volt for the 2 batteries. We've got an additional battery for the generator start. We've got a safety 12 volt battery up in here, and that's for comms. So if we lose everything, we've got a battery up in here and some controllers and stuff. So it's an additional 12 volt battery, and there is a 12 volt battery right up forward for the bow thruster. Not that we use a bow thruster, but there is an additional battery there. Galley. So over here we've got a fridge, access to the fridge, access to the fridge, and access to the fridge. So it's in 2 layers. There we go, and it's full of yogurt. Well, this is going to be a yummy voyage, and it's all nice and cold. There you go, feel that.
Oh yeah.
So that's that all works, and in fact the fridge works too well, because you'll see here it's all frosted up there, so it works really well. So there's 2 fridge systems. There's a 220 volt fridge system, and there's a 24 volt fridge system. We can use either. They're completely redundant. Obviously there's my stove there, oven, and the food on here is impeccable. It's too good. Spend too much time cooking. The nav area is over here, and charts here, and but we're set up to sail like it's 1973. So we've got the old Sayula VHF. We've got a Navtec here. We've got an HF radio here. We've got the HF radio test certificate. We were going out at 70 watts, probably one of the best in the fleet. So beautiful system. We've got a little HF receiver here, a Sangen, that's just a receiver only, and we've got a little active aerial we plug into that. On top of that, we've got a barograph, which is a good old barograph there. So I've got to put a new nib in that and wind it up. And then the Furuno Weatherfax here. So this is real old school. So it's sort of like it was in the old days. We do have a, so that's there is the autopilot. We're not using it, it's covered up. That there is a digital chart, it's not using it, covered up. There's our call sign, there's our MMSI, there's our identification number. There's an AIS in here, covered up. But if we lose a man overboard, we've got AIS men that will check this system every day, and just make sure that that's active. But we're not really using. We're using AIS in a passive sense, but it's really there in a man overboard sense. That's why that's there. It's a concession. But if we need, I can rip that off. We all sign a stat deck that we're operating on sextant only, whatever, and so everyone signs that, whatever. And you know, if you wanted to cheat, why would you be in this race? Sounds a bit pointless. We've got a little impeller log, a B&G log up forward, and there's a display there. So there is a digital display there. There's just an old analog display on that one, and there's an old log that goes in up forward. And there's an AIS under there, and the switchboard here. So this is 220 volts down here. That's 24 volts here. This is just a battery control system, and that's a generator starting panel. So we've got a Yanmar generator down aft, and we've got a Perkins 72 horsepower main engine. Both engines are original, so you know they've been here for a while, are well maintained. And then further aft here, which is a bit of a mess because we're storing, and so that's where I sleep here. It's supposed to be a double bed. Don't know about that. Two very small people or very friendly people, but I'm just using that as a single. The mate's here. The generator's in under there. The main engine access is in through here, and there's an additional heads there, yeah, plenty of stowage and whatever. Access up there. We've got an additional, so we've got some boat speed and depth over there, so in the aft cabin, so I can keep an eye on that. And that's an additional VHF on the mizzen, and this is a modern one that actually has GPS because it's for the DSC, and you can see I've got stickers all over it that it's very, very hard to read because, and the problem is the GPS comes up on different positions and whatever, so it's designed. I've gone through all the menu and you can't see it, and you can just sort of see what channel it's on if you try really hard. But that's just additional whatever, but that's got the whole capacity of but we don't use it. It's just redundant VHF capacity on the mizzen in case we lose one on the main.
And I see you've got a hydrovane there. Well, yeah, the voucher for a hydrovane there.
That's right. So we've fitted a hydrovane as an emergency rudder. We're not using it as a self steerer. You could if you wanted to. It's a big boat to sail with a hydrovane, and we'd have to look at the sails very carefully. But we're hand steering around the world. We're not allowed to use an autopilot. We're not allowed to use a wind vane on this race. And if we use it for any reason, I don't know why you would. You'd have to document that in the log, and they look at whether there's an advantage gained. But it is there because it's a completely independent rudder system. So so we've got an emergency rudder or emergency tiller, if you like, that fits on the rudder head, but we've got a completely separate rudder on the hydrovane. And you just change the little gear knob and you put a thing in, and we get a boat hook and we put some tape on it, and we steer with that.
So tell me about Explorer's sail plan.
Right, so we've got quite a few sails, because if your sails, there's a limit of, I think, I can't even remember what it is. It might be 11 sails for a sloop and 13 for a ketch. If your sails are more than 8 years old, you're allowed to have additional sails. They count for half a sail. And we've got quite a few old sails. Having said that, we've just got some new sails, and having seen them, we've been landing a lot of old sails thinking they're crap. So basically we've got brand new Genoa, staysail, main and mizzen. In addition to that, we've got a storm staysail, which becomes a storm jib. We got a code 0, and we've got an new asymmetrical spinnaker. We've got a symmetrical spinnaker, which we had anyway. We've got 2 mizzen staysails and a storm trysail. got a Genoa staysail, which is fantastic. It sort of sheets back where the Genoa is, but comes off the staysail. So if all of a sudden it's blowing 25 knots and you don't want to have your headsail up, you have a Genoa staysail. So you got a lot of sail, but it's snugged right down. And also it's good off the wind. And we've also got another staysail, which it's a 4.2 the foot length, but it can sheet in well for going to weather. So the Genoa staysail you couldn't really have hard on the wind, whereas this one sheets, because there's an issue of sheeting, you know, inside or outside the lowers and whatever, and it just sits in beautifully.
How different is sailing her to your Lelo?
The big difference is having a crew of 10 compared to doing it all yourself. So all of a sudden, you know, I've got to not be lazy. We actually have the capacity to do stuff, and so it's a matter of keeping the boat going and whatever. It's a lot of fun.
Your love of doing the retro race, sailing kind of without modern equipment, is obviously well documented. You did the 2018 race, you did the 2022 Golden Globe race as well. So I guess, was that part of the reason why you wanted to do the Ocean Globe race?
Look, it sort of fits my sort of personality and skills and whatever. You know, to get a boat to the start line of one of these races. It takes a bit of effort, and then also the astronav and all there's a whole. It's not just being able to take a sextant sight. There's a whole lot of background stuff that goes with that. Getting the guys to take hourly log readings in the cockpit. Taking our sun sights, taking a log reading, taking a depth at the same time. Engine alarms. So we actually have to manually monitor a lot of these things. So it's a whole culture and we're hand steering it around the world. There's no autopilot. So it's getting everyone onto that sort of ethos, good old looking out and just sailing a boat like it was a dinghy, more than, boats got so much electronics these days and whatever that sometimes it takes it away from sailing, because they see themselves on a digital chart and they've got their GPS, this and that and the other, and they know the course. It's like playing a computer game, but this is just grassroots sailing.
And have the crew kind of come together quite well with the training?
It's difficult to get all the people here at the same time. So we've got 7 or 8 people going the whole way round. We've got 7 people the whole way round, one lady doing 3 of the 4 legs. So 7 3/4 rounders, if you can describe it that way. So it means we've got 2 leggers. So what it means is we've had various people here at various times that might have been on a leg, and also people are all rounders are committing themselves to all that time at sea. So they're not necessarily on board for every test sail and whatever. So it's been a matter of blending all that. And we've also had some people who have joined quite late, like Mink has joined quite late, but she's been a watch leader on a clipper, on a complete circumnavigation. So she's obviously got a lot of skills that we can very quickly bring together. So we know each other well, and we've sailed together in various permutations and combinations, and that will change during the race, because there are different leggers joining on different legs. But predominantly, as I said, 7 3/4 going the whole way through. In that there are 2 doctors. So I've got an emergency physician and a psychologist. Not that we were it's just if you have a doctor apply, they go to the top of the list, because that's a good additional skill set to have. But we've got Pete's an electrician, Benoit's a French guy sailor, Catherine is from the Canadian Merchant Navy. She's been a cook provisioner there. She's got a helmsman certificate. So she's not here for cooking per se, but her and Jill have, if you like, managed the provisioning, and she supervises the cooking. We all cook, we all take it in turns. So the oncoming watch is responsible for cooking the meals, and they just have to work it out. But we don't want every person coming up with their own menu plans and raiding the freezer and doing this and that and the other. So there's got to be some management of that, which Catherine and Jill sort of provide. But yeah, so a good mix of people. And but look, if I wanted anything more, it'd be more time. But you know, you're never 100% prepared. You got to get out there. Look, I go, do I need more sailing training? Guess what? We're about to get a lot for the next 6 weeks, so it'll come soon enough.